Hello, friends. How are you? And welcome to Chris and Amanda Day, or welcome to the Chris and Amanda Show on Chris and Amanda Day.
That is right. Another Monday, another morning show. Because if
Right.
you're new here, we always haven't been Mondays. I mean, we've always been Mondays. We haven't always been at 8:15, rather.
True. Yes.
So if you're listening to past recordings because you just tuned in today and you fall in love with our show, which we hope you do,
We hope you do.
some of it might reference 12 p.m. Some of it might reference 2:15. But here we are at 8:15 now because why not?
Why not? Why not? Why not start doing a morning show on Monday mornings?
On Monday mornings.
And we're streaming right into everybody's lives right here on a Monday morning. And so you could already see, like I could see the sun already like coming in. So I was so for anybody watching the video version of this, and if you're listening to the audio version, go watch the video version. So last week, since there's been a time change and everything, and clocks and all that, now the sun at the time we do the show beams in through this window I've got right here. So if I go a little closer, it's like it's
So
like
it makes Chris's very fair complexion even more fair in many instances, to the point and to the fact where if you look at his one arm, it looks as if he has a white shirt on
it's like
under his black shirt.
So the logical thing would be to fix that by getting like some blackout curtains, which now I'm going to have to, because when we used to do the show at like 12 and then 2 and all that, it wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Now, and it wasn't even an issue when we moved the show to 8:15. But now that the time has changed and now it's all, now the sun is like right there. So I have to, I have to address this situation.
Which, it excites me because that means we're going into summer, because we have some international listeners. And
we do.
So for those who don't know, Chris and I are in the States and we are finally getting some warmer weather, and it is welcomed.
It is absolutely welcomed. We are much happier when it's not 0 degrees outside.
We get giddier.
We do. We get giddier. We get even more obnoxious than we normally are.
That's right. Yeah. So we have an exciting show today.
We have a really exciting show today. Excuse me, clearing my throat 300 times. So we do have a very exciting show today. So today we are, Amanda and I are always trying to come up with, like, listen, the premise of the show is always the same. We're always sharing music with each other and talking about music and reacting and doing all that. But we keep trying to do like some different themes and just make it just a little bit different every single Monday, or at least we try. This Monday, we found out that as of the recording of this show, so depending on where you're watching it, listening to it, today is April 11th. I think, right? April 11th.
April 11th.
Let me make sure. April 11th here in the United States. And it is National Pet Day and National Louie Louie Day.
Louie Louie.
Which I was like, wow. So look at those two dates, two national holidays, two, stupendous national holidays that must be recognized and celebrated. And what better way to do it than celebrate it on an episode of the Chris and Amanda Show?
And so, if anyone's wondering if Louie Louie can have a national day, there is no reason that we can't, as we do every Monday, celebrate Chris and Amanda Day.
That is very true, and we will one day just we do celebrate Chris and Amanda Day. That's a thing. It's been a thing now for almost a year, and
just needs to get implemented nationally.
Exactly. We just need to write our Congress people and senators to make it a national day. We have to figure out how we can make a national day.
Hey, if any of our listeners know, and speaking of like new segments, Marcus and Dexter's drinking. Speaking of pets, Dexter is drinking from his water bowl right now, and very obnoxiously.
I hear that.
He can't be quiet in life. But Marcus, there was a little debate in the Sharp household.
Okay.
About the Louie Louie version that was going to be used on the show today.
Oh.
So he got a little upset. He gave me the look.
Okay. All right.
I did not choose his. And so he says, I demand a segment on your guys' show that says, and you call yourself a music podcast.
All right. Well, I respect that, and I look forward to it.
So it's we don't just have all fun. It's our and when I we've been together doing creative stuff this
Right.
past year. It's officially been a year. And when I made that post on Facebook, I did shout out Rachel and Marcus for, dealing with our shenanigans because
Yes.
it can't be easy.
No, I know it can't be easy. It's because it's nonstop. That's the thing. Like we do the show on a weekly basis, but it's all week long. Like stuff goes on, little messages, like me talking to my wife about things with the song, with the show. Oh, I think we're gonna do this, and she just looks at me like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like,
Yep.
are you getting paid for this yet? I'm like, well, one day.
About that, what a perfect segue into us begging.
What a perfect begging segment. So
If you would like to support our show.
yes, if you would like to support our show, we have so many ways to support the show. So, we appreciate each and every one of you who join us live or who listen or watch the show in replays. And over the last year, I would say that we've had some really great fan support. And to make the show run, other than, just Amanda and I's strong will of passion for creativity, we do have some bills to pay. So listen, any little bit helps. We're so appreciative of anything. So we've set up different ways that, if you would like to show support for the show, that you can. We do have a buy me a coffee, which you can go over to. There's some levels, whatever you feel comfortable with. We've actually set up some new membership levels as well to check that out. So if you want to become a monthly member of the Chris and Amanda show and support us and help us get Chris and Amanda Day become a nationally recognized day, that costs some money, I'm sure. So your contribution goes a long way. But we set up a whole bunch of new stuff there. We also have a commission a show. So if you'd like to commission your own episode of the Chris and Amanda show, where you get to pick all the songs, you could do that. We have that now. That we have that ability. And if you're a band, a musician, an artist out there who would like us to talk about your music, we have a level for that too, because we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to have their voice heard or whatever. But you could pay a little bit, just a little, nothing crazy.
No, it's
Cheap.
we are a cheap date.
We are. And based on the news today, supporting the show at like a monthly level for like $2 a month is cheaper than buying eggs right now, because eggs are like astronomical, or gas.
It's so true. You can buy us this cup of coffee. No, really, no
Yeah.
amount is too small, because if a lot of people do it, it all adds up. So thank you for that consideration, everyone.
Mhm.
I think we'll conclude this begging session and do it again at the end of the show.
Yes, absolutely. We 100%. So, if if you're new to the show, see, we're making so many assumptions today, Amanda, that
So
we're
true.
assuming that people understand the show, right? So,
True.
listen, we have our great audience that comes and listens, and the people that follow the show, so they get it. But what about those people who have never heard the Chris and Amanda show before? If this is your first experience of the Chris and Amanda show, we hit you with begging for money, and now we'll tell you how the show works. We ask you for money, and now we're going to tell you
We like to do
why.
things backwards here.
Yeah.
Well, how our show typically works most of the weeks is Chris sends me 3 songs, I send him 3 songs. Sometimes, like today, we throw in a theme, and we rate those songs on a sliding scale of 1 to 5 records. 1 being so cringeworthy, 5 being it's an amazing song. It ends up on multiple Chris playlists.
And Amanda makes a Pandora station out of it.
And I make a Pandora station out of it. It's very simple at the end of the day, but some of the conversation gets a little respectively heated,
Mhm.
and some we agree on. But what we do know, no matter what week it is, what theme it is, we come out having listened to music that we most likely would never have heard before. And it has really broadened our music taste. And that is what is so exciting about this show. And we hope that our listeners are getting a new taste of music as well, and they're growing as we're growing.
Absolutely, 100%. That's the whole point of the show. So hopefully, by us talking about some of these songs, if you've never heard them before, you go check them out, and we make it easy. We make it
Good
so
deal.
easy here at the Chris and Amanda Show to listen to the songs that we talk about, because all you have to do is head over to our Spotify playlist for 2022. We've been curating all the songs that we talk about there, so they're all in one spot. So you can use the link in the show notes or the video description below, and you can get access to that. And all the links that we're talking about are all in the show notes and in the video description. So with all that being said, let's jump into our show. And so for today, our theme is, because we're celebrating National Pet Day and National Louie Louie Day and the soon-to-be National Chris and Amanda Day, we have some selected songs. So what we did is we put together a small list of 3 songs, and 2 of the songs are pet related. And then our third song was our favorite version of Louie Louie. And Louie Louie is one of those songs that you don't realize how many cover versions there are of Louie Louie until you go to look up cover versions of Louie Louie.
There's a whole Spotify station of Louie Louie covers.
It's fantastic. And as a guitar player, that's literally one of the first songs that I learned how to play. It's the best. It's like dun 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 dun. That's the song. That is the song, and it's fantastic, and it's a ton of fun to play. And there's a lot of good history about that song. So we'll get into a little bit when we start to talk about those songs. We'll talk a little bit about the history of Louie Louie real quick, and why it's a national day and some of the funny shenanigans that happen behind the scenes with that song. But let's get into National Pet Day songs. And so somebody may say, well, how do you observe National Pet Day? Well, one of them is you listen to Pet Day songs, like what Amanda and I have done. That's one way.
Absolutely.
But really, the day was set up. I was reading about this. So the day is set up to really bring awareness to pets, and of course, support our friends who may not have forever homes yet and who don't have the family. So, and so some of the things is make sure you take care of your own pet. So here's a few ways to observe National Pet Day. Take supplies to pets in shelters. So if you got extra food, extra toys, blankets, crates, stuff laying around, bowls, bring it to your local shelter because they could absolutely use it. So do that. Help a friend with pets who is recovering from an illness. I know over the last bunch of years, we've had an explosion with people getting all kinds of new pets. So, but some people have been ill, some people have taken ill. So, if someone in your life needs a little help, that's something you can do for them, is help them take care of their pet. You can adopt a pet, Amanda Sharp. Did you know that? Did you know you can adopt a pet?
2 of my 3 indicate I do.
So today would be a good day for you to go out and adopt a pet.
Yes.
Whatever that pet is. Doesn't have to be a dog. It could be a dog, a cat, a turtle, a fish.
A turtle, a fish,
a
parrot.
Turtle. Or parrot. Just
So
adopt a pet. Adopt some kind of a pet. Give extra love to your pets today. So hug them and love them.
Yes.
And if you're posting anything, use the hashtag National Pet Day. That's it. That's it. These are some of the ways to celebrate National Pet Day, according to the National Pet Day page, by the way.
Their words, not ours.
Their words, yeah. All right, so
all really great ways.
Yes, there's a lot of great ways. So let's get into the music, right? So we talked about that. Let's get into our music choices for this week. Amanda Sharp, what songs did I give you in honor of National Pet Day?
You gifted me your first song, Martha, My Dear, by one of our favorites, the Beatles.
Yes.
Your number 2 pick to me was Sometimes I Don't Mind by the Suicide Machines.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll throw in your third pick. Your Louie Louie version to me was Louie Louie by Black Flag.
Black Flag. That's right. That's right. Yes, Black Flag, the one and only Black Flag.
There you go.
I'm very anxious to hear what you have to say about my selections. So your selections to me this week was Feed Jake by the Pirates of the Mississippi, which, by the way, fantastic, phenomenal name for a band. And then I was texting Amanda behind the scenes yesterday, and I'm like, you sent me this song, and I watched the video, and I'm like, I'm so crying. Like, this is anyway, I'll get into it. But I was like, what did you do to me? And then Old Red by Blake Shelton, which I have a lot of notes on that. That's a great, it was fun. And your version of Louie Louie to me was the one and only Joan, Jett, and the Blackhearts doing Louie Louie, which apparently in the Sharp household is there's a lot of it's very controversial pick selection.
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew that's all it would take to create all that controversy in the Sharp household?
It was like Uptown Girl all over again.
Whoa, that level.
It was that level.
Wow. Okay.
So I finally settled on I would mention his favorite version on the show. That was a compromise.
All right. Yes. And by the way, along the way here, and this you bring up a great point because we are a live show. And for anybody watching live or listening live, feel free to use the comments. Let us know what your favorite pet songs are and your favorite version of Louie Louie when we get to it. Or, throw them in the comments. We put out some bunch of questions on social. So keep the conversation going. We would love to hear what you think about these songs or what your favorite songs are. All right. So let's get into it.
Okay. Let me go into your number one pick to me.
Go into my number one pick.
Martha, My Dear.
Martha, My Dear.
By the Beatles.
Yeah.
So it is no secret for any of our listeners who have been around a while that Chris and I both really love the Beatles.
Yes.
So of course I had heard this song before, but to be honest, I didn't realize it was about a dog.
I had a feeling you might not know that, but but that's why I put it on there. I'm like, oh, it's such a great song. And I was like, I bet she doesn't know this is about a dog.
And so when it first started, I was like, maybe Chris just thinks it could apply to a dog. Because as I'm listening to it, I was like, well, I guess it makes sense that it's a dog. So when I Google machined it, I actually was shocked to actually see that Paul McCartney had written it about his dog, which was an old English sheepdog.
Named Martha. Yep.
Named Martha, which I really enjoy because the dogs that we have are usually like people named too, like Billy, Harry. Dexter is Dexter, but
I was gonna say there's Dexter back there.
He came in as a Dexter. Otherwise, he would have been a George. Dexter George, we call him. So I love that Martha was the dog name after it. It is just like such an upbeat, like the piano is so happy in it. There's claps. We all know Amanda loves some good claps.
Yeah, that's right.
It really just is such a sweet song, and it made me really happy. And now that I know it's about a dog, honestly, it bumped up even more.
All right.
On my list. I liked it before, but I was like, oh, who thought to just write a song about their dog?
Paul McCartney. Leave it to Paul McCartney.
Yeah. I look at Harry and occasionally the things he does, I go, oh, he could be a kid's book. Never once have I ever thought Dexter could be a song.
Dexter, my dear.
Or Billy. Billy's almost 18, everyone. Mm-hmm. And for 17 years of his life, he's been a jerk.
It's a hot take.
Now that he's old, he's the best he's ever been. But man, to write a song about him would have not been a nice song. So I really love that. Several people wrote songs about dogs.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't have been able to convey it like that. So just super fun, happy song. If you haven't listened to it before, check it out on our playlist. Martha, My Dear by the Beatles, getting 5 records.
Yes, and rightfully so. It is such a great song, and it's such a typical Paul McCartney song with all the happy and sort of that like old time English, like all that I don't even know what you would call it, but it's just that the way he
sounds like carnival music almost.
Yes, very much like that. It's just so good at doing that, and so this is such a great just typical Paul McCartney type song, and it's great that it's about his dog, his old English sheepdog named Martha.
I just love it. And old English sheepdogs don't have to be old. There's young old English.
there are young old English.
So 5 records, loved it. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, you are welcome, and that is I love your rating of that, and I will accept it. Gladly accept it.
Thank you.
Okay, so your next song, so your first song to me, I love the name of this. So the name's, it's called Feed Jake. That's the name of the song, and it's by Pirates of the Mississippi, which now I with no idea, but I do like the name, Pirates of the Mississippi. I'm like, yes, I no idea about any of this stuff or who this band is, but there's a lot of information about this band and this song in particular online. So there's some really cool like backstory about this. So as I said, Feed Jake by the Pirates of the Mississippi. It was a song written by Danny Mayo, and it was recorded by the band Pirates of Mississippi, released February 1991 as a third single from the band's self-titled debut album. This song was the band's highest chart peaking song. Reached a chart number 15 on Billboard Hot Country Singles and Tracks, now known as Hot Country Songs. Hot Country Songs.
Hot country songs.
You need to have a playlist called Hot Country Songs. Amanda's Hot Country Songs.
People would be so let down.
Because it could be like, and not only did the song appear on billboards, but it also appeared on Amanda Sharp's Hot Country Songs playlist on Spotify.
Hey, I'll take it.
It made them in. Okay. So a little bit about this band, right? Pirates of Mississippi. So these guys were basically Nashville session musicians in the 80s who all came together in 1987, and they began playing together and eventually just called themselves like Pirates of the Mississippi. Just started, they just said, hey, let's all join and let's just write some songs and have some fun together. And this was one of these songs. And I love what, Richard Alves, the guitarist who wrote, or not wrote it, but played on the song, said that one of the things he says is that this song means something different to everyone who hears it. And I thought that was really interesting. So this song is at its core, it's really about two guys who were friends, lifelong friends, who you find out through the course of the song. One of the guys is going back into town to basically take care of his friend's dog, who's a Labrador. And you find out by the end of the song that his friend had passed away. And that's why, and they have the line in the song, like, if I don't wake up, feed Jake.
If I die before I wake, feed Jake.
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what did you send? I go, what did you send me, Amanda Sharp? Like, and so then I watched the music video, and the music video, by the way, I'm just going to say, like, watching this now, like, yes, it definitely has this whole, like, a little, like, corny vibe to it, but it's actually a very, like, it's a good story. But it's like by today's standards a little like, but at the core the story is great, and it's actually, you're really sucked into it. It's got a very like Marley and Me kind of vibe to it, and it's a really cool song. And it's, it's the lyrics get me on it. Like, I'm not I don't know if I would like actually go and put this song on and listen to it, because I don't know if I can. I don't know. I'm like, it makes me like so like sentimental. I'm getting like, it's so sad about it. But I liked that they actually, and especially in the music video, they actually make some really interesting social commentary for the 90s in country, dealing with some very like, super conservative, like, country music isn't exactly known of being like super open-minded. So at least, and especially back then in the 90s. They dealt with some really interesting controversial topics, which I thought it was really great of them. And that's why I love the statement where he says it means something different to everyone who hears it. And I think that's really important. So, I think the Feed Jake, there's the literal version of that interpretation, but I think then there's sort of like the, make of it what you think of it, what you get from this song after you hear it. So, and I think that's really interesting. So it really is something for everybody with that song. And I always like that, like you could be universally interpreted the way, how it matches for you. So anyway, the song itself, I would give this, see, I'm trying to separate it like musically from the emotional impact, but it's hard because it's a song. So I don't think I would continue to listen to this song, but it's very sweet, and I really like the lyrics because it's so sweet. So I love the fact that they pushed the envelope on like social commentary when this came out, and I thought that was, and it becomes important for that reason. So for that, I would give this 4 records.
Totally fair.
And the music video, you got to watch the music video. You got to watch the music video. It really cements, like, it becomes so much more emotional like when you watch the video.
It is a tearjerker.
It is. And it really is.
When we're speaking of adoption earlier, when you were speaking of that point, I think a lot of animals end up in the shelters because the owners didn't have maybe a plan for their animals in the
Yeah.
event that they passed away. And news alert, everyone's gonna die. So make sure somebody is equipped with the knowledge that they are to feed Jake if you pass away.
Yes. Make sure someone can feed Jake.
Absolutely. Or in my case, 3 dogs, Dexter, Harry, and Billy. Sorry. The burden's a little heavier.
Sorry, everybody.
Sorry. Sorry, Stacy. The fish all died, so now it's just the dogs.
Right, now it's just the dogs.
Lessen the burden a little.
Yeah. So but I like that song. I thought it was good. It's just very like I said, I like the theme of it, and
Absolutely.
it's very G-rated, which I like.
Very.
But yeah, makes like really good social commentary too. I thought that was a really good. It was very clever.
It's very well done. And anyone who can say Pirates of Mississippi and not in their head start spelling out Mississippi,
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
I don't know if you can be trusted if you don't do that.
I don't know if you can be trusted.
I'm just saying.
I'm just putting it out there.
Who were your teachers in like 5th grade? Didn't teach that. They clearly didn't have Mrs. Gray.
Clearly not.
Good stuff.
I can see she's left a lasting impression upon you.
You know, I know this is about pets and Louie Louie, but teachers are so impactful. Maybe we'll have to do songs about like education and maybe our experiences that we've had.
Songs about teachers.
Yeah, teachers, because I think their job right now is very hard. So if we dedicated an episode to them, to our educators, that might help.
You're gonna get a songs about teachers episode.
We can share some stories.
Yes,
stories.
we could share some stories. I'm sure you have stories for days.
Days. Alrighty. Your second song to me, Chris. Sometimes I don't mind. By the Suicide Machines.
Yes.
I never had heard this song before. I don't think that surprises you.
No. Not many people have, by the way.
And unlike Martha, My Dear, this one was a little bit more obvious. It was about a pet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very obvious. I mean, it's actually written about the bass player's Boston Terrier, which, of course, is near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely.
Considering Mr. Milo is a Boston Terrier, and that's like my favorite breed, and so I love that. And so anyway, I keep going with your impression of the song.
I think the lyrics are fantastic. I really enjoy the creative, yet very you understand if you've had a pet before. I mean, you get it. So they're very creative, but very solid to what a pet owner does with their animal.
Yeah.
And I love like the words, I talk to you sometimes, but you don't talk back. But that's okay.
Yeah, I know. That's what I love, because I go, this song is like literally I've done everything in this song. Like, well, I watch you sleep sometimes, and it feels like the first time, and you're always on my mind. Every day is like the first day. I'm like, this is like perfect. It's exactly. I look at my dog and I go, oh my God, it's like what? It's the best. This song is like, all these lyrics are like, this is exactly how I feel.
Absolutely. And I don't just talk to my dogs. I respond back like they just responded to me with voices and all.
And he looks at you and I go, oh, really? Oh, like...
Yes. Dexter has the ear voice. Okay, I'm coming.
Yeah, you start making voices for our dogs.
Harry the Chihuahua's British. I mean, there's so many voices, and I say them out loud. Like, it's not. I'm glad to know I'm not the only one who does that. Please, all of our listeners, tell me you guys do that too. It's not just Chris and I.
No, I guarantee we are not the only ones that do voices for our dogs as they respond to us. We're having a conversation like that, but it's
to be in their head. Like, you wonder, like, that's not what I said, lady.
Yeah, that's not even close to what I said.
In the other lyrics being bad looking, making a mess, but they're still like loved anyway.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's really a good dog owner, good pet owner. They really do love their animals unconditionally. I mean, really, is aging, so he makes some mistakes and messes here and there. But I'm like, it's okay. You're just old. Like,
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
it's
It's
just
gonna
it's
happen.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I one of my questions was which one of those guys wrote this song. So you answered that. I love that. It was the
Yeah.
drummer, you said,
The bass player.
the bass player. And then 4 records was initially going to be my rating,
Mhm.
but after listening it to a couple more times, so like I really dig this song. So I'm giving this one another 5 rating.
Wow, a 2 for and I love at the end of the song too, you hear, like, the dog barking, like, he's on the track, and I'm like, "That's so cute."
And I did watch the video,
Yeah.
and it's so obnoxiously like silly with
Oh,
a
it's so silly.
human-sized costume of a dog that
Yeah.
is not a great costume of a dog.
No.
And when he pees on the fire hydrant, it's just it's clever, it's fun.
It is.
So yeah, 5 records all day long. I mean, this episode, I can't help it. It's just when you give me a good dog song and
Yeah.
boom.
It's hard, especially being a dog, we're both dog owners and stuff. It's like you get so sentimental for these and this song in particular. And the thing is even too, like this record by the Suicide Machines, I don't even particularly like this record from them that
Okay.
much because I like their older stuff. They're a ska punk band, and this record they kind of like really like I don't know. They just did a lot of different things. I wasn't feeling it, but this
Sure.
song, just because of the nature of it, I'm like, it's just such a
So
fun and
sweet.
silly song, and it's so sweet, and the lyrics are perfect. That to me, this is probably like the best song on this record by the band. But no, I just dig it, man. I really like it. Sometimes I don't mind. It's fun. It's
I
very
love it.
fun.
So sometimes I don't mind by the Suicide Machine, 5 records. So
Nice.
great pick.
You are welcome. You are welcome for that pick. So your second pick to me, what you sent to me was "Old Red" by Blake Shelton, and another great video, by the way, because
So
I get so sucked into it, and I can't tell if Blake Shelton's wearing a wig in this video or not. Because I'm like, is that his real hair or is that just a wig? I'm like, I can't tell.
it's kind of like the 80s. Some of them
Yeah.
really had good hair, some of them had to have wigs.
Yeah, I'm like, but it's a funny, it's a good video, and I love the storyline. So, basically, the song's narrator is a prisoner who's offered a job to take care of the prison dog, who's a bloodhound, also well known among the inmates for his skill at tracking escaped prisoners. The song tells how the prisoner hatches a successful plan to escape from jail, which involves Old Red, which I don't want to give it away. Like you got to listen to the song and watching the music video or and then watching the video are fantastic. It is like, that's a really good plan. Like, I don't know if it would really work in real life because it's very cartoon like, but it's funny to see it. And they really kind of ham it up in the video and all that. And it's fun. I like the song. At first I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then I got like so drawn into like the storyline of like this plot to like escape from jail and all that with the dog, and like this is now I feel like I'm watching a Coen Brothers a Coen Brothers movie here. But this was released from Blake Shelton's self-titled record. So this was released in 1992. Yep, 1992. And this was the third song from that record. So, and this actually has become, as Blake Shelton has said himself, one of his most commonly requested songs in concert. And he actually considers it himself to be his signature song. It was written by James Bohan, Don Goodman, and Mark Sherrill, and was originally recorded by George Jones on
No.
his 1990 record, "You Ought to Be Here With Me." And it was later then covered by Kenny Rogers in 1993 on his record, "If Only My Heart Had a Voice." So not only has Blake Shelton done this song, but it's actually got a little bit of a history of being recorded and covered and all that. So, and I just find it fun that this is like one of his most popular songs and all that, and it's most requested type of thing. So, fun song. I definitely highly recommend the music video on this one because I think that it's just very funny, and I feel like it's kind of like a little bit of a Coen Brothers-esque kind of quality to it, which I think adds to it. So I would give this a 4 records for sure. I think this is, and I think I would give the music video 5 just because I think that the music video is so much fun to watch.
It's what you expect from like early 90s type,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it's hard to believe Blake Shelton's been in the business that
You
long
know,
too.
that was the thing too. I was like, "Oh, where do I know Blake Shelton from?" And I'm like, "Oh, wait, he's on that show and
Yeah,
The Voice,
The
and
Voice.
I guess, and he's with Gwyneth. Is he with Gwyneth Paltrow or
Yep,
something?" Yeah.
yep.
So I was like, "Oh, that's Blake." But I'm like, "Wow, this song's from the '90s," and like, yeah, exactly. Like, man, he's been in a business a long time.
A
Wow, I
long
was
time.
no
And
idea.
and as we've seen just from doing this show, I mean, it's hard to stay relevant in this business outside of a
Hmm.
decade, right?
Hmm.
And so any
Very
any
hard.
artist who can stay relevant for decades, just super impressive.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you had like a chance to listen to George Joan or Kenny
I
Rogers
did not get a
versions.
chance to listen to the version, but I think I'm gonna
Just
go. I'd like to, because now I'm kind of like, I want to hear the difference.
it's so different, so different. Blake really adds that he story tells it so much better.
Oh, okay.
Where George and Kenny sing it. And that's like when Johnny Cash sings a certain cover of a song,
Oh,
he just
okay.
story tells it better to me
Right.
and can like execute it both through music as if I'm listening to a story. They just sing it. They do it well, but
Mhm.
it just doesn't have the same oomph
Panache.
to it. Yes.
Panache.
Yes. And I love the last like lyrics are love got me in here and love got me out.
Yes, yes, yes. I love, it's very clever. It's just, and like I said, it's even funnier. Like, those lyrics hit better when you have the visual of the video,
Absolutely.
because it kind of plays out like a little short film, and it's like I said, it reminded me of a Coen Brothers type film,
So fun.
and not, and I know it's not, but it just had that quality to it, So it's a fun song that has good visuals to it. Like, it really paints a good
I like
picture.
it. I
Yeah.
like it. It's very swingy, so I accept your 4 records. So
It is
I'm
very
impressed.
it is definitely, in my zones of twang,
Yes.
and it's at the top of, like, the twang zone for me, where I get a little like, I don't know
Yeah.
about this, but I was like, I fought through it, because I'm like, if there's anything I've learned on this show from doing this with you for over a year, it's that don't judge a song by its twang. Don't bail out, Chris.
Or the
Ha-
name. Or the
Hang in
name.
there. Hang in there. You definitely get to the thread, the twang comfort zone. Hang
Yeah.
in there, because you may
Right?
like it. So
And the same applies to me. If I can get past the like, oh gosh, I might get a headache. Some of my favorite songs I would have absolutely dismissed and just turned off and never given a chance because it
mhm.
was past my comfort zone or
Right,
getting to there. So
right.
it's fantastic. I again love this show because we do it.
Yes,
Uh,
exactly.
all right, moving on to your third pick to me, which was your cover version of Louie Louie by
Yes.
Glenn Flag.
So before we get into that,
Okay.
I'm going to explain a little bit about
Yes,
National
yes.
Louie Louie Day, so that way we can put in context. So, for anybody out there that's listening to this, I would think that most people have heard Louie Louie, but if you haven't, you can absolutely hear it. But I'm going to give
Two
you guys a
versions
little.
of it on our Spotify playlist.
Correct. But I'm going to give everybody a little bit of context about Louie Louie Day. So, a little bit about the song itself, because the song has kind of taken on like mythical proportions over the years, but mostly because of what happened when it was released, and sort of the reaction to it, going back, in the 50s with rock and roll, like, the devil's music, like all that. So Louie Louie was written by R&B singer Richard Berry in 1955. His band, the Pharaohs, were the first to record and release it in 1957. It got some airplay in the band's home turf around San Francisco and became popular in the Pacific Northwest. It was covered by other garage bands and became a somewhat popular party tune in Western states. Now, if you know me, and I think you've listened to the show a lot, but if you're not, then I am like very big fan of like a lot of garage rock bands, and that Pacific Northwest has yielded some unbelievable bands that kind of came and went, quote unquote, one hit wonders. It is so much fun, like, listening to these compilations and listening to those bands from that area. It was just, I love it. There's something about that raw garage rock sound that it just is addicting to me. So definitely dive into some of that stuff. But anyway, so the Kingsman, that's the version of the song that pretty much everybody knows. So they recorded it. Their recording was actually the subject of an FBI investigation about the supposed but completely non-existent obscenity of lyrics. And the investigation ended without prosecution. So it's so funny that this is what happened. So in Barry's original recording, the lyrics are quite clear. It's a song about a sailor who spends 3 days traveling to Jamaica to see his girl. The story is told to a bartender named Louie, not even remotely obscene in the original version at all. But because there's a really funny bit here about how this happened. So I found this great article was released a few years ago on NPR. So this is what happened when the investigation began after the FBI started receiving letters from worried parents. Kids would hear these versions of the song and they would pass around these written notes of what they thought were the lyrics. He says, and parents were concerned and they figured, my gosh, this sounds like a dirty song. I don't understand it. Maybe we should have an investigation on this sort of thing. So the FBI tried to figure out whether recording inserted vulgar variations on the published lyrics. The process involved a lot of agents, including Robert Kennedy and J. Edgar Hoover, received letters about it, and the governor of Indiana actually got involved. And then the FBI looked at the recording and played it backwards and forwards and played it at different speeds, and he spent a lot of time on it, but was indecipherable at any speed. Oddly enough, the FBI never talked to one man who'd known for sure Jack Eli, the man behind the microphone. So it's just really funny that this whole thing, and it's not, there's no obscenity, but it was claimed to have been an obscene song and that there were vulgarities in it. No vulgarities at all.
Tax dollars at work.
But because a lot of the way he sings it, it's like kind of a little indecipherable. The way he's like, the way it's like, whoa. And so it's pretty funny how something like that happens. So the song has taken on infamy, or has become infamous, more than famous, infamous for having that little bit of background there. So I just wanted to give a little bit of context. So hence they created National Louie Louie Day. All the fans of the song Louie Louie, and it is observed. So today on the Chris and Amanda show, we are observing Louie Louie Day by selecting our favorite versions of Louie Louie. Now, of course, the Kingsman version is up there. That's the version. That is the main. That to me is the penultimate version of the song because of the notoriety. There's nothing more punk rock than that. But there have been some really great versions of this song recorded. Hence the one I gave you.
Which is the one that you sent me. So it's a very quick song, this rendition of it. Like it is so fast. They just, when you're listening to the other versions, they like work up to the singing part a little bit. There's that intro a little bit. And at least the version that I listened to of this particular one, there's none of that. Like they're just like, they jump right in. Yeah. They just go like, Louie Louie. Yeah. I was like, so great. I didn't get warmed up. Like, like it's a 1 minute version.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
It's yes. I wasn't really prepared for that. It's one of those songs that, and I'm not saying this version is bad, but no matter how bad of a version it is, you can't help.
Yeah, you can't help but like love the way that the song is, like how it just works and operates as a just simple rock song. It's literally, I think four chords. So it works really well like that. And it looks like a little bit of technical difficulties. Let's see if we can get Amanda back here. But anyway, while we get Amanda back online here, it is one of those songs that just operates like really well because it's so simple and so basic. Welcome back, Amanda Sharp.
I just totally left. And I'm at my house because my router broke at the office and we don't have any internet because I just got the router. And I was like, what is in the air with me? I break all things router. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, you can't. I'm sure you took over the conversation. You just can't listen to any version of this and just not respect the bounce of it, the gist of it. It's so fun and so fantastic.
It really is.
So it wouldn't have been my number one pick because it obviously wasn't.
Because it wasn't.
But Louie Louie by Black Flag, I'll give it 4 records. So not bad.
Yeah, I respect that, and I love Black Flag. They're like one of the greatest punk bands um, to come out of America, punk hardcore bands. They were the first to do a lot of things, which we can go into later on down the line. But like, they're to me, when you make the Mount Rushmore of punk rock, they are 100% on there. And I find their version like fun. It's silly. They do like,
Right.
but it's so Black Flag, and I just think it's and that's the thing to me is like the spirit of the song is that fun bounce and kind of punk rock, and just once again all the stuff that happened with that song behind the scenes.
That's fantastic.
I just think it's great. And so hearing one of the most notorious punk bands who were also kind of persecuted a lot for being things they weren't, uh cover the song, I thought was great. So that's why that is one of my favorite versions of Louie Louie.
Awesome. For records. I
Yes,
like it.
I like that. I like that. So your version of Louie Louie to me is Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, I love Joan Jett. I think she's phenomenal. She's had an amazing, amazing career in music. She's fought through a lot of garbage and nonsense to get to where she is. I think she is legendary. I absolutely have nothing but tons of respect for Joan Jett. And one of the first records I bought way back in the day was, I Love Rock and Roll on LP, and it's she's just amazing. And so this like her version of Louie Louie is like perfect because she's such a fan too of a lot of the same stuff I was talking about, a lot of the old garage rock.
Sure.
And she came up in the scene too, in the LA scene, and of course she was in the Runaways, the first all girl like punk band, and just was around that. And so she has such a great respect for like rock and roll and the roots of rock and roll and things that have come before her. And so I think her version it's Joan Jett, man. Like, there's no, like, if you want Joan Jett doing a cover song, like, you're getting Joan Jett doing it. And Louie Louie is a perfect song for her to do. So I love this version. I think it's great. This is one of the songs that your version is actually in my list of versions of Louie Louie that I like. And when they play it, like, they play it sometimes on, I listen to Sirius XM's like Little Steven's Underground Garage, and they play it, and they'll play this version of it. And I love it. So this is 5 records, man. I mean, I love this version of Louie Louie. I think it's really cool. It's Joan Jett. What's there not to like,
I agree. And what's interesting about the song is, for as generic as it is, not a lot of women cover it. It's
No.
the majority is men. So to find a woman, but I think it has to have that right sound like Joan Jett.
Yeah, I mean, she's just got the grit. She's got
Very
the
much.
attitude. She's got the swagger. And I mean, listen, we went back, we talked about what the song is really about. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, soldier coming home, a sailor coming home. He's looking for a little fun. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. And it's an innocent song like that. But yeah, I think that's probably why you don't get a lot of maybe, female performers covering the song, but it could easily be the other way around. So
Yeah.
I say kudos to anyone who covers this song, because it is just
Agreed.
so much fun to play. I mean, if you're learning to play guitar for the first time, like, this is the song to like do. Besides Smoke on the Water or Stairway to Heaven, no, like, learn Louie Louie, because it's literally like anybody, you can play it anywhere at any time, and it's one of those songs that you could just jam on forever, like, because it just never changes, and like everybody can take a solo and all that, so it's fun.
I love it. So great
Yes.
suggestions this week for song choices. And I have to at least throw out Marcus's
Yes, let's do
version,
Marcus's
because
pick.
that was part of the peace deal.
It was part of the peace negotiations.
Marcus's version of Louie Louie, he says, the only one that should exist is by Iggy Pop.
That is a very good version. The only one that should ever exist. Not even the original.
The way he looked at me when I was like, this isn't my favorite. I hadn't seen the look before.
It is Iggy Pop, and Iggy Pop is man, right up. And you know what? I almost put you almost got a Stooges song on here. So Iggy Pop was the singer of the Stooges. I know you don't know that, but
I don't know that.
I'm informing you. And I almost put I Want to Be Your Dog on this today's song suggestions, but I didn't, because I thought that the other 2 songs would be a little bit more fun to talk about. But that song could still will just probably still pop up at some point during the course of our time together as we share music But yeah, Iggy and the Stooges, that's phenomenal classic stuff. And I agree with Marcus Peck. I think that is a very good version of the song. I don't know if it's the only version that should exist, but it is a good version.
And maybe I'm being a little bit more dramatic with his words than he actually spoke. Imagine that.
Are you?
Right. But hey, I love his involvement with our show, even if it isn't in agreement with me. But that's what this show is about.
It is 100% about that. So this is the show. We talk about music. Oh, and the sun finally went in. It's like moved. Well, the sun didn't move, the earth moved.
That can only mean that we went over once again our time.
No, we're right in pocket. I think we're doing all right.
Whew. We try, folks. We try to keep this. We, when we first moved to 8:15, we're like, oh, we can do a 30-minute show.
No, I think it got longer.
Yeah. Then, well, as long as we keep it under 45 minutes. No.
We just have too much fun. We have too much fun doing the show. And we appreciate everybody who hangs out with us, watches live, watches the replays. Everybody who's been downloading the episodes on the audio streams, watching on YouTube. We appreciate all you guys. This is, it's fantastic. And, this is why we do it, because we have a great time doing the show, and we're happy that people seem to really like the show and are responding to it. So absolutely. And if you want to get involved with the show, if you want to be more involved with the show, you absolutely can. Obviously, number one is, if you can make it here on the mornings at 8:15 on Monday, Eastern Standard Time, you can participate with us. You can comment, you can have fun with us, all kinds of stuff. Or you can also go to our Buy Me a Coffee page, and there are some levels to get involved with the show and actually get your voice heard. You can pick songs. I believe we even have a level now where you can actually be a guest reviewer on the show. So you can actually come on here live with us and have fun, in the Chris and Amanda virtual studio set up here. Buckle up. But yeah, so we have all those different levels. We also, if you want to become a sponsor of the show, and hang out here with us and be an official show sponsor, just send us an email at the Chris and Amanda Show at gmail.com. Or if you want to give us feedback or requests or anything like that, do that there too. That's fine. All these links are in the show notes in the video description below. All of them. Every single one of them.
Every single one of them. What a good show. Chris, I enjoy this time with you every single morning.
Me too.
It's so fun.
Me too. And I hope everybody out there has an amazing rest of the week. Once again, thank you all for joining us here on another episode of the Chris and Amanda Show. Everybody have an awesome Chris and Amanda Day. Happy Chris and Amanda Day. Happy National Pet Day. Happy National Louie Louie Day. Whew. It's a lot. That was a mouthful. That was great. All right, everyone. Well, we'll see you next Monday. Make sure you follow us over on TikTok and Instagram for all kinds of fun little clips that we put out, all kinds of content. And yeah, head over to Buy Me a Coffee. Help us out. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.